This is Jackie, and I'm here with my friend Johnny of Hope for the Day. Can you talk a little bit about Hope for the Day and how it got started?
Yeah, so I mean, on the forefront, we are a proactive suicide prevention and mental health education charity that was started by myself in 2011 after I lost my boss, Mike Scanlon, to suicide. He and I worked together in the Christian music industry, and I don't know, it was just one of those things that really shook me, and then it also made me realize that he was number 9 on a list that is now unfortunately 16 people that I've lost to suicide. So I figured I would take my passion for creating safe spaces for people to enjoy music, because I've been a concert promoter since I was 13, and I was doing artist management, and I just figured I would just not go gray early working in the music industry, and I'd do something different with my life and invite everyone to the party with me.
Tell me a little bit about Hope for the Day's mission statement.
So, we're, the whole thing is about being proactive, right? So we're a proactive suicide prevention and mental health education, and it's like so important to realize that for so long, education and suicide prevention, like mental health education and mental health research and stuff, were housed in 2 different organizations, and I'm a big believer that we cannot truly learn if we don't educate ourselves and educate the people we're trying to serve and help, as well as just in the general public. So we have 2 arms of work: outreach, which is what we're doing out here on the the Warped Tour, but we also have an education component. Every day we do a class before doors with Patty Walters from As It Is, called Warped Wellness, and it's a good time. I always say it's a quick chat about mental health and suicide prevention, because we're all human beings, which means that just because we love music, we can understand that we all have more things in common. Like, we have brains, we all eat, sleep, shit, and cry, and we all have good days and bad days. And we just need to get to a place where we're not a reactive society, and that's where we are right now. And that's why we always say we're proactive. People are, what does that mean? I'm like, well, what happens when a celebrity takes their life? Most people post a hotline number and say, please reach out, when I just know that shit just doesn't work. So we need to be proactive about it and get in front of it, because just with the mental health crisis, we're losing 121 people every single day to suicide, and that's not even including like the 115 or so we lose to the opioid crisis every day, which is yet another mental health crisis. But we live in a society that likes to compartmentalize things, right? So it's really important for us to kind of be the white elephant in the room and say the things that we don't say as often as we can, just to remind people that it's okay not to be okay, and that if they need to get help, it's going to require them to ask for the help that they need, because we're talking about our brains and we can't see what a brain looks like. I know what a brain looks like when it's in distress. It's like it's bruised, and this bruise keeps building up as more trauma occurs. But like, we don't see that, because even bald dudes and bald women and bald people, you still can't see the brain. So we gotta talk about it.
Talk a little bit more about that expression. It's on your T-shirts. It's okay not to be okay. And where did that come about, and why is that sort of kind of the phrase that drives or sometimes drives discussion?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I was having a rough day in the office in Chicago, and I was just thinking about all these people that I lost, and I had just recently lost another friend, and I was just like, man, I just wish all these motherfuckers knew it's okay not to be okay. And I kind of clicked, and I was like, oh man, we should start saying that, because we've always been telling people to have hope, but like, we need to understand that we need to meet people where they're at and not where we expect them to be. And we can say that we live in a stigma-free environment when we really don't. So for us, the best way to convey our message is let people know that it's okay not to be okay. And people joke, well, it's okay to be okay. It's like, yeah, no shit. Right. But like, it's also like we're talking about those who feel that they're not okay, like they can address these things. And we've seen that so many people have felt that that's so much more inviting than, if you're depressed, call this number. Like, that shit still it won't work. So for us, it's just like our mission, like I said, to be the white elephant in the room. It's like to put that that message and our slogan on anything and everything. And if people say we can't, I'll figure it out, how to do it. But that's just what we're supposed to do, like what we're supposed to do.
I think that's a really good place in between, sort of the desperation point and hope. You've got to get to those things, and I think by acknowledging that you're somewhere in between and that you're working on it, I think that's a really good thing. How does Hope for the Day fit into Vans Warped Tour?
So we first started out as we used Vans Warped Tour to come out here and shoot videos with bands. before we had any money or anything like or actual structure of like being able to do things. We had to do things the old-fashioned way, and that was just figure it out. So I started producing this video series with Alternative Press called Music Saved My Life, and we shot 43 of them on Warped Tour. And a good friend of mine, Jason Rudolph, was like, yo, you need to meet Kevin Lyman. He wants to meet you. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And Kevin told me that he felt that like our videos were good, but he knew that we would be making a bigger impact if we were able to be out here, so he wanted me on the road. So we first joined the Warped Tour in 2014, full time, and we're the only charity that speaks from stage every day. But we're also, I don't know, I feel like we're one of the charities that loves to bring all the other charities to the table and say, like, we should work together, you know? So we really like to honor the community of nonprofits out here and be a part of it. You know, a lot of people think that, like, us and Trey Love and Arms are, like, two different street gangs. And, I mean, this is not West Side Story. No. We obviously... we took some influence from them, but we also looked at like the mental health world and as a whole, and there's more than enough room for 20 more fucking organizations to come party with us because there's so much work to be done, and they do their work their way, we do our work a different way, and that's cool. Like I wouldn't want to do the same thing as them, but like people are like, do you guys like hate each other? I'm like, that's just you're petty. So you know. We out here, we don't do any like signings with bands or anything. We try to create partnerships and cross collaborate. So like this summer, we're working with State Champs and we're working with Journey Shoes, and we're giving out 121 wristbands every single day to represent the 121 people that take their lives every day at our booth. And kids have to come to the tent. They have to sign our mental health pledge, which allows them to get in touch with us so we can further, connect them to be, part of what we're doing out here. But it's just a really fun and easy way to educate people, because we have a little sign that says, what we're doing here. And then, I speak every day before State Champs and I talk about, the 121 people. And it's just really important that you do things and you educate people. A lot of charities out here would just be like, donate $5 to go meet your band. It's like, that's great. But like, if that's like how you're going to be raising money out here, it's kind of what you're not supposed to be doing. You're supposed to, get creative with it, have some fun with it. Just don't do the same fucking thing that everyone else was doing, because we don't do that. We get asked by a lot of bands, hey, can we do signings? And I just, no, that's not what we do. But we do walk people's signings lines and distribute resource cards, and like we should be able to support others without having any money, being transferred. So sorry, that's just my whole MO. Like action before dollar, not to talk shit, just more to like kind of let people know that they can do cool things, and it's not always about money.
As a high school English teacher myself, I feel like being creative in the ways that you get your information across is always going to go further than bombarding with facts and just sending out phone numbers. It's certainly something that helps, but if you're going to really make a bigger impact, I think that's definitely the way to go. Tell me about your coffee shop in Chicago.
Oh, I miss my coffee shop. Our coffee shop. It's our coffee shop. My brother and I get caught saying it's ours or mine coffee shop, because it's him and I are the ones that built the whole thing. But Sip of Hope opened on May 3rd of 2018, and it's the world's first coffee shop where 100% of the money supports suicide prevention and mental health education, and to be exact, proactive suicide prevention and mental health education. It's in the Logan Square neighborhood in Chicago, and it's just, I don't know, we have the best coffee in the entire world, dark mentor coffee. We started roasting coffee with them 3.5 years ago. We created Sip of Hope, our own blend, and they helped us get it into Chicago Whole Foods, and now we're trying to push it to a nationwide thing with Whole Foods. But they kind of gave us the blueprint, and they said, go out and raise money and figure out and build your coffee shop. And it's been amazing ever since. Our soon-to-be state governor came and pulled a shift on Friday afternoon with our staff and was serving coffee to the folks. So it's amazing. I wish we had the coffee out here, because this coffee sucks. It really does. But I appreciate it. But it's really fun because I don't know, like the community aspect of a coffee shop is just such a very beautiful and unique experience, and I think that we are allowing people to know that they don't have to go to Starbucks. They don't have to go other places. They can go and get an amazing cup of coffee, but they can also contribute to charity every single day. And I think that we live in such a society that we feel like, oh, well, I'm only going to give a couple bucks. Like, it's not going to do anything. It's like, that does a lot, actually. You know, despite what other charities tell you, you know, like all that shit. Like, my favorite donation is always the 87 cents because it had to go through the processing fees. I'm like, that person donated $1. That's so sick. Like, thank you. And that's how we raised the money for the coffee shop, too, is we asked people to donate coffee cups, like increments of coffee cups. So it was like each cup is $5, you know, and then people just threw money at it, and it was really cool because you know, it wasn't cheap at all. We raised over $150,000 for the project, and the staff is amazing. I mean, we have like the best Google and Yelp reviews like anyone could ever ask for. Everyone, it really acknowledges some of our core values there, obviously about the mission, but also like how we like created our staff and our lingo, because we're very conscious of people and gender and, you know, all that good stuff. You know, everyone's a friend, and that's probably the most repeated thing in all of our reviews is that they are like, staff is genuine, product is so on point, and everyone's your friend. And that's just kind of cool, you know, like we're reappropriating a coffee shop, and we do that with beer. We do that with, you know, Michelin star chefs. We do it with, you know, brands like Nike. Like, we do all this stuff, and it's just because, like, at the end of the day, everyone can relate to the statement that, you know, it's okay not to be okay, and those who don't are the ones that we have to, you know, get on board with it. But the only way we're going to do that is by getting everyone involved, and that's what we like to do.
I think that's the perfect note to end it on. Thank you so much from Johnny from Hope for the Day. This is Jackie. Thanks to Chorus FM and In the Key of Change.